Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question was suggested by a viewer. Thanks to Francello for this one. Amy plays Archway Commons, but forgets to tap a mana to keep it in play. Sometime later, the players realize this mistake and call for a judge. What is the appropriate infraction, penalty, and fix? Alright, so the correct infraction in this case is missed trigger. This is because Archway Commons has a triggered ability, which uses the word at, when, or whenever, and Amy did not mention this triggered ability at the relevant time during the game. The penalty for this is a warning, because this triggered ability is generally considered to be detrimental to Amy. Now on to the fix. And actually, we don't yet have enough information to correctly say what the fix should be. There's generally two possibilities in cases of a missed trigger. You could either have the players continue playing the game and have the trigger just be missed, or you could give the opponent the opportunity to put that triggered ability on the stack right here and now. There are some other types of triggers that have special handling and have remedies outside of what those two possibilities are, but Archway Commons doesn't have any of those special types of triggers. Now, the deciding factor in whether to let the triggered ability be missed or whether to give the opponent the opportunity to put that on the stack is how much time has passed in the game since that triggered ability should have happened. The cutoff is based on the IPG. If the triggered ability should have triggered prior to the current phase in the previous turn, then it's missed. Otherwise, the opponent has the opportunity to put it on the stack. I know that was a lot of really technical rules speak, so I'll break it down in a little bit more English-friendly detail. Basically, this triggered ability should have triggered during Amy's main phase. That means that Nick has until the end of that same main phase during his turn to catch the error. If the triggered ability doesn't get spotted until after that point, then it's too late and the players are instructed to keep playing. If Nick or Amy realizes this triggered ability before the end of the main phase in Nick's turn, then Nick would have the opportunity to put that triggered ability onto the stack. Now, of course, there are two main phases, and especially with playing lands, if there isn't anything going on in combat, it might be a little bit ambiguous as to which main phase Nick is in or which main phase Amy would have played the land in. In cases like this, I can only say to use your best judgment, although my personal philosophy would be to give the benefit of the doubt to whichever player is playing the land. Since, after all, in cases where there's some sort of ambiguity, the burden should generally fall on whichever player benefits in order to prove their case should be the right one. Everything I've said up until now has been assuming that Amy and Nick are playing at a competitive rel event. If they're actually playing at regular rel, things get a little bit more complicated, but also a little bit simpler. Let me explain. In regular rel, the fixes are not as set in stone as they would be in competitive rel. That means that even if the timing window that I talked about before is a little bit past, you still might give Nick the opportunity to put that triggered ability on the stack. On the other hand, I generally like to rule in favor of consistent outcomes between regular and competitive events. This is because a lot of the people in my own personal play group have aspirations to play at more competitive scenes, and so they generally like to have the F&Ms judged at that sort of a standard too. That said, in a different play group, it might be appropriate to change your ruling a little bit with these types of considerations in mind. In general, I really do like the way that the IPG handles this type of situation, and I think that it does a reasonable job of compromising between not giving too big of an advantage to the player who missed the triggered ability, and also not making too big of a deal out of something that's really easy to miss and forget about. So I personally would generally go with the fix prescribed in the IPG for this type of a case. And that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again tomorrow for another daily ruling. But until then, I hope you have a great day.